What's up, Steno babes? It's your boy, Jack.
And your girl, Des.
We are two court reporters
With one podcast.
ready to tell you all of our stories.
We're taking you through the court reporting profession through our eyes.
So get ready because we're about to go on the record.
Do you solemnly state that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
Then let's go.
This is the Steno Pod. What's up, Steno babes? We are back on the record for episode 5 of the Steno Pod.
Episode 5.
We're halfway through season 1. That's crazy already.
I feel like it's flying by, and I still feel like we have so much to talk about.
So much to talk about, so much to get into, and we will in this season. And then if the people want it, maybe we'll come back for a second season.
I think the people are going to want it. I'm pretty sure the people are going to want it.
I love it. I love it.
Same.
So, how was your work week this week? What did it look like?
Oh my gosh, I was sick. So I actually had no choice but to be in bed all day. And even though I was sick, it was so nice. I am not going to lie. I feel like my body got a much needed reset.
Yeah, sometimes you need that. Like you need to reset and just rest. But didn't you work? I thought you still worked.
I did. I only worked 2 days though. Compared to 4 to 5, I still did it. So just 2 days. It was great. How was your week?
My week was good. Well, I really admire that because when I'm sick, I shut down. I'm like a baby and I don't move until I feel better. So I would not be able to go to work. Like, no way.
So you would take the whole week off is what you're saying?
Yeah, probably. I mean, if I had like a little sore throat, maybe I'd go and take a quick little something, but I just, there's nothing worse than like your nose running, having to blow your nose and being on the record and you can't do anything. Like that's awful.
Oh my God. It's funny you say that. That is so true because yesterday I had to go off the record because I had a cough attack. Like it was out of nowhere. It's like something got in my throat and I was like, oh my God, I was coughing and I was like, went to the side and I was like, Your Honor, excuse me. And she's like, hold on, off the record. The reporter needs a minute. And I just ran outside to just cough.
Oh my God, that sounds awful. I'm so sorry. Wait, in arbitrations, you call the arbitrator Your Honor?
I do. We do. There are times where they're like, don't call me Your Honor. Or you can just say Mr. Arbitrator, Mr. and Mrs. Arbitrator. But 9 times out of 10, we all just say Your Honor because they're retired judges off the bench.
Right.
They're still, you know what I mean? I think some of them do really want us to call them that. And then there's some where I'm like, oh, Your Honor. And they're like, oh, just call me Mr. So-and-so or, you know? So, but some of them aren't retired judges. Some of them are just attorneys still. So, and they just kind of play, they're an arbitrator sometimes, but I still say Your Honor because the minute I don't, I feel like someone's going to get mad.
Is that a separate license? Do you know, like to become an arbitrator? How do people become that?
So They have to retire off the bench. So basically once they retire in court, they can go and do that. They can be arbitrators. So they're all retired judges. A lot of them come out of criminal. It's so funny because arbitrations are becoming so big, like they're becoming the new thing, and it's getting so busy with that. The minute like judges retire, these like places are like trying to scoop them up. Like, come on, come work with us because it's so competitive right now.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I'm learning so much. I love that. Oh, also update. I had my call with my tax guy yesterday.
Oh my God, are you okay?
We have to talk about this off the record because the amount that I owe made my eyes bulge out of my head. I've never had to owe. I've only gotten returns.
This is your first year owing?
Well, I think it's because I was working at Disney so much. So I was already like paying the IRS through that when I was working there and doing both. So I always ended up with like this. It always like equaled out. But yeah, I'm really scared. I was like, wait, what? Cool. I guess it's just like a learning curve for me, but wasn't cute. And I think he's refiling my taxes as like an S corp.
Oh, perfect. So you'll save a lot of. You still pay, but you save a good amount. You know,
so
because that's self-employment tax.
Yeah. So at least I have a good guy that like just knows what to do because I'm like I am so illiterate. Like I will pay you all the money in the world to figure this out for me because I have no idea what I'm doing. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. Yeah.
Because taxes are like I literally. Because I pay quarterlies, but I still get so much anxiety when he's like, I've done all your taxes. Give me a call so we could discuss. I'm like, just freaking tell me in an email how much I owe. I don't want to cry over the phone. If you break even, it's perfect. But there's time, like last year, I paid quarterlies and then I still got hammered. I was like,
I don't get that. That's so weird. Ugh.
Anyways, let's not go down this rabbit hole before we start crying.
It's really depressing. And it's definitely, I think, the biggest negative of being a freelancer. But
and the court girlies are going to come and say, if you were in court, you wouldn't have these issues.
I know. And they have that. I give that to them. Right. That could be a whole episode, honestly, taxes. When we should get like a person on here to like talk about that.
We should get like a tax person on to get to like tell us what to
What I
do.
need to be doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. We gotta find somebody.
Well, I do want to get into these questions. We put out some things on Instagram and everywhere, letting you guys know that we want to take some of your questions, whatever questions you have. It could be court reporting related or not. And you guys delivered. So that's what we're going to be doing today on this episode of the Steno Pod. Let's get into it. Des, hit me with your first fan question.
First fan question comes from, I can't say the name, so it's called, I know their names they're great, but I just want to make sure. Okay, Sav Hop. It's SAVHOPP. Their question is, did you ever feel like in school this wasn't the path for you? Start work and not feel that way? Jack, go ahead and answer that one first.
That's a good question. Kind of like two parts to it. I feel like I did have a moment in school where I thought I wasn't going to be able to do it, but I never questioned if it was for me. I wanted to do it more than anything. Like I was going to do absolutely anything in my power to become a court reporter, and that never changed or wavered. But I had a moment during school where I was stuck. I know everyone gets annoyed because when I say I'm stuck, I was stuck for like 5 weeks or something. And I was like panicking, like, how am I going to get out of this speed? Because I was so used to passing quickly. And um, I'm just really hard on myself and a perfectionist in that sense. But I did have a moment where I was like, maybe I just need to be a scopus. How come I could pass through all of these uh, speeds? And for whatever reason, I don't know if it was 170, 170 a little bit. And then I was stuck at like 190 for a little bit. But yeah, so I had a moment of like, am I going to be able to really do this? And then I finally was like, you know what? Take some CBD oil, calm the hell down, and show up to school and just keep doing what you're doing. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just fight through it, fight through it. And I really did. Like, I got in this awful car accident the night before my first qualifier. And
Oh
like
my
my
God.
printer broke because I got like rear ended and all my equipment was like crushed except my machine and laptop. Thank God they were still like able to like function. But I missed my first qualifier. I think I missed like 60. You can miss 50. And that was my first one. I was like, dang it. Like, but I'm just like, just get up and keep doing it, push through. No, I never questioned if it was for me, but I did question, will I be able to do it? And I doubted myself for like 2 seconds. And then I picked myself back up, brushed it off, and kept pushing. How about you?
As you should have, and then as you did. No, honestly, I don't think so either. I don't think I ever had a moment. Well, I guess I think you have those moments where you're like, I don't know, is this even worth it? Should I even do it? But no, I don't think I ever had a moment like that. I know I have met people who have done school, gotten into the field, and they were like, no, this is not for me. I don't like this at all. And they tried depots, court, and they still were like, no, and they just left the field altogether. I think I met two girls that did that, and one of them got through school so quickly, and there was no struggle for her. And that happens. That's normal, right? And I feel like when there's no struggle, there's no appreciation for it. And it's so hard for you when you get out because school is so easy. Then you get onto the working world and you have transcripts, you have attorneys, you have this, you have that. I think that a lot of people there are people that are like, this is not for me. And that's normal. And I love that they acknowledge that instead of staying in the field and hating it and just being so rude to people, being so negative, they want to find their happiness. So yeah, that does happen. Just hasn't happened to me or obviously not Jack, but yeah, there have been people that have just don't like it. And that's
Mhm.
normal. I think that's completely normal too.
Yeah, I like what you said about like, working for it and having it be so much more rewarding by going through some struggle, and then you get out and you're like, wow, who cares about that test I failed? Who cares about those little things along the way that felt like such a big deal. But at the end of the day, when you get your license and you're working, you're like, I'm here, I did it. Like you have to go through those struggles and learning curves, and because it makes it that much more rewarding when you do finally get it. I love that.
Right, right. It's true because when you struggle or when it's so hard, and once you get there, you're like, all of those tears, all of those failed tests was worth it. And that's
Mhm.
where you see the really big payoff. But if it was so easy for you or was handed to you, there's not that much of an appreciation for it. Because Jack, yeah, you did get out of school really quickly, but like you were saying, there was a moment where you were freaking out. Like, should I just be a scopist? Where there was a struggle. Like we all had them. So I think that for sure, yeah. I can see why people leave the field. And I actually still follow that girl on Facebook, and I think she's like a counselor at a university. She
Oh wow.
completely, yeah, she was done. So it does happen.
I also think there's alternatives too. I remember a girl that went to my school. She went way before I did, but I would just hear stories about it. Um, but she kept trying to take the CSR and couldn't pass. And so she ended up moving to Wisconsin, my home state, which is crazy because they no longer, it used to be RPR, but they no longer require a license there. So
Oh, really?
if you get through 200 words a minute and graduate court reporting school, they will hire you in their courts as a court reporter. So she did that. She moved and then she'd come back once a year, whatever, to try to take the CSR. I don't know what happened to her. I don't know if she finally passed it. I actually want to say she did end up finally passing it, but she like moved to Wisconsin. And there's states like that. Like that is an option for people, you know, if there's for whatever reason you just can't pass or and now with it being online, it's like, yeah, you can do that, move to a different state and then just keep taking it online until you can pass. You know, that's like obviously a last resort. I recommend pushing through and trying your hardest and, you know, taking the CSR seriously and doing that right out of school. But oh, there are options, which is good.
Yeah, you're right. Because I think Florida and New York is like that too. You don't
Mhm.
need a license. And New
Crazy.
York has really good work. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
So,
All right. On to
okay,
the
next question.
next question. Okay. I'm trying to read. Gosh, it like cut off the name, but I think it says Raquel ABA
Abalos?
iOS. Oh, LOS. Yeah. Maybe it just cut off a little bit.
Abalos? Abalos?
And her question is, I want Desi's makeup routine and I want to know what product she uses.
I wish I would have brought my products over here. Okay, so I'm sure everyone knows on TikTok, you see it all over TikTok. It starts with good skincare. So you can use anything, but if you don't have, you can use the best stuff, but if you don't have a good skincare, obviously you're not gonna have good makeup setting. I use It Cosmetics, the blue tube. Then I use Tarte Shape Tape. I've been using LYS contour and blush. Or is it LYS? Love Yourself. Yes, it is. It's LYS. And then that's really it, honestly. And then the setting powder I use is from It Cosmetics too. But I use my makeup or my skincare routine is Tatcha. It's so pricey. I want to get into Korean skincare so bad. I heard that was the best.
Mm-hmm.
Asian people look great. So I definitely want to get into it. So I'm going to change and I'll let you guys know my skincare routine there. But that's really what I use. It's just because Tatcha is so expensive. What products do you use, Jack? Everyone loves your skin.
God. I feel like I change my routine up all the time. Like I'm like, oh, let me try this. And it's always like a hodgepodge. Like for a while I was doing JLo Beauty, Jennifer Lopez's skincare. I really liked it. But then I just get bored of it or I don't want to reorder it again. And then I'm like, okay, let me and also I hate when the products aren't like equally like they're not equal like the volume of each one isn't equal. So it's like I'll run out of the serum but still or no, I'll run out of like the moisturizer, but I still have so much of the serum or like vice versa. It's just always having to like they don't all run out at the same time. I don't know why that's like a pet peeve of mine. But then I end up like mixing other things and then I create a whole new thing. But I really like JLo, I like Tula, and I even like CeraVe, like their night cream. It's just basic, like odorless, really good for nighttime. And then I find like really good serums at Trader Joe's. Honestly, they have really good organic
I've
stuff.
heard of that.
Yeah,
Yes, I've heard of that.
I
Okay,
like that.
good
And
to
then
know.
I keep a little like it's kind of like the tape. Is it was it tape shape or what it called?
Oh, from Tarte Shape Tape.
Yeah, yeah. I have like something like that, just like a concealer to like put on like a blemish here and there, you know, if you have like a pimple or something.
That's
I'll
the
just like throw
best
it on. concealer.
concealer.
Yeah, really good.
Really,
Really,
really
really
good.
good. Hmm.
Okay, the next question is from No Salad for Me. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I love that username. It's so cute. Okay,
That is cute.
this is a very controversial for can't even speak controversial question because okay, I'm gonna ask. Do out of state reporters taking up California jobs piss you off like it does me? Of course it does. Yes, it really pisses me off. Look, I love my fellow colleagues. I think that's great that everybody there's so much work in California, but our taxes are very high. I paid $22,000 in state taxes last year.
Okay, I'm
My
not gonna
rent
complain anymore.
is through the roof right now. It's so pricey. Our gas is nothing. I think it just went below $5 a gallon recently. It's so expensive here. So yeah, it does kind of annoy me when reporters come and try and take our work, charge our rates, and then they complain about California. And I'm not trying to get political here. I don't want to bring politics into this, but they talk so much crap about California. It's all this, it's that, and it's disgusting when you go there. It smells like pee. But you have no problem taking our work though. There's no issues there. Just
Yeah.
saying. Okay, go
I
on,
didn't
Jack.
even really think about it
It
that
happening.
much because I have friends and colleagues that, yeah, live elsewhere. I mean, I do think it's a little And, and I'm even guilty. We talked about this in another episode, but maybe we both were a little guilty of saying, I feel like you've always been good about it, but I know I've been like, oh, you can work from home. Like you can make six figures, work from home, like easy. But I do think it's not the best mentality going into the field being like, okay, I'm going to forever and only work from home and work remotely. I just don't think it does any favors for the career. You know what I mean? Like,
No, it doesn't at all. And I think that's why oh, sorry, Jack, go ahead.
no, it's okay. No, but yeah, it's just like you have to be willing at some point to go in person for something. And I actually like, I know people that don't live in the state, but they actually will come randomly and like take something in person in California. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's interesting. But I saw a post recently of someone that lives completely out of state and they were advertising the career as being like a full work from home. You can live in the middle of the desert or the woods or wherever you are. And you can, but to help the career and to keep, the rates we're charging and to, keep our demand up, we need to be willing to go in person, willing and able to go in person. We really do.
I agree with that 100%. And it's so, and I'm not trying to be that reporter that's like, oh, like, I'm pissed about this. I'm not, but attorneys are noticing it. One thing about me is I talk to attorneys a lot and they do make comments. They're like, "Oh yeah, on my Zoom depot I had an out-of-state reporter." And they're like, you tell them you're like, they ask, "Is it frustrating? Are you guys okay with that?" And it's like I don't say anything. I'm like, "Ah, that's fine." But they're like, if anything, I could use a local. I mean, I can ask for a local reporter." And a lot of them will say, "We do ask for local reporters because it's not fair to you guys." And it's not. It really isn't. I'll just keep it
Mhm.
real. I did mention right now sometimes I take New York work, but it's really rare. It is very rare because that work belongs to New York reporters. It's expensive in New York as well. And I don't think it's right. I just don't think it's fair. That's why I think a lot of proceedings have gone back to in person, at least the really good jobs, because of things like this. You don't know who you're getting. You don't know what reporter you're getting, where they're at. And I think one time an attorney had made a comment and was like, we wanted to go till I think 6. And the reporter was like, well, that's 9 o'clock for me and I can't go past that. And he's like, I mean, it's not my fault you took this job. And it's true. It's not their fault, right? So she got really upset and was like, I'm not going to go past 9. And he's like, that wasn't fair. So now, whenever we have a Zoom depot, we ask for a reporter in California because we don't want those issues. So I don't know. It is what it is. It does suck. It does make me mad sometimes, but I mean, it doesn't affect me now. So I guess it's fine.
Yeah, and I can see too, like, if you are like a retired court reporter or you're just like, hey, like I'll help out with last second, Zoom depots or, something like that. And it's like, okay, that makes a little more sense to me if you're just kind of like older, you're not really working as much, but like, here and there you want to help out. But I just feel like it's best to be an attractive candidate and an attractive court reporter, which means like be willing and able, say yes to everything and anything. And yes, of course, help out with Zoom depots or help out with Zoom, whatever. But, also when you get that message, like, and a lot of times there's a big fat per diem attached to it to go in person too. So be like, yeah, I'll go. Sure. Why not?
So
So
true. So true.
let's see what next. Oh,
That
we
was a
have
good
from
question.
that same person, no salad for me. We have a question. What do you do when your stomach growls during a depot? Gives me anxiety. I know.
Okay.
It's really hard too because I actually like intermittent fasting, but I can't when I work. I have to have something before I go on the record. Like I have to have something because of that reason.
Yes,
Like
me
there's no way.
too.
I need to
And I
have like
feel like
some
I don't
fuel.
concentrate enough. Like I'm not in it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. You're right. This is why I always make sure I have like 3 to 4 granola bars in my bag to avoid the growling. Because I don't know what it is. My stomach doesn't growl. If I'm hungry at home, like it doesn't growl that bad. But in depots, it's like it sounds like a monster is in there.
I know. I know. It's so bad. Honestly, if that has ever happened to me, I'll try to like clear my throat or just like to try to like do something that's a little louder than the growling. I mean, but also, I don't know, maybe it's a sign that they need to take lunch soon. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good one. When it's like you anticipate it coming, you're like, oh, here it comes. So then like you move your body a little bit to
Yeah,
kind of
like,
avoid it. But no, it is and it's so much anxiety. And honestly, when I'm like hooked up to the videographer, so we'll get into that one day. But so basically when there's a videographer, everyone's mic'd up, everyone has a microphone, and I'm listening to with my headphones through the feed of the videographer, and I can hear everyone's stomach just growling off the chain sometimes,
Ew.
like bad. It is so, I think one time an attorney farted and I was like, okay, I got,
Are you serious? Ew.
but yeah,
Oh
no.
my
If
God.
we're hungry, they're hungry, which means, but a lot of times law firms have snacks. I don't know. Where I go in person, there's a lot of snacks half the time. There's times where
Hmm.
there's not, but I make sure to always carry a granola bar of some sort. And that way, just to hold me over until I need to, until it's time for lunch.
Yeah, some of them are really good. There's like snacks or like drinks and all sorts of fun stuff. Yeah.
But
Hope
yeah,
that
no,
answers that.
I don't think that is ever not gonna, yeah, that's anxiety. Like my anxiety goes to like 1,000 when my stomach starts growling.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. Okay.
Miss Archie 24 asks your best advice for a student in theory.
Practice. Get on a schedule. I mean, I say it over and over because that's really what it is. You need to get on this is where your foundation starts.
Mhm.
Theory is the minute like you don't take it serious in theory, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah,
That's where like you plant your seed.
I feel like it's an overwhelming time. And especially like if you're a student in theory and you're like listening to this podcast or you're like looking up other court reporting content and all the things you need and all the things you need to know before you start. And it can be very overwhelming if you like deep dive into this. And I totally understand that. But I really think when you're in theory, when you're starting school, when I think back to that, I loved that time of my life. I was having so much fun and I was just focused on what was happening, like what the lesson was of the day. Like, okay, cool, let me master this. Let me do the homework for this. Let me wake up. Okay, cool, we're learning a new thing. Like I just let what came to me. It was such a like satisfying process for me. Like it didn't feel scattered. It didn't feel like I had to do all these things. It was like, let me just do what I'm supposed to do and what they're telling me to do. That's it, and then just move on to the next thing the next day. Because at that early stage, that's all you can really do. And like Des said, this is the start of building your foundation. Like, you're learning things right now that you'll carry your entire career. So it's important what you're learning. It's fun, it's exciting, and you also should want to be there, right? You signed up because you want to be a court reporter. So yeah, just focus on what's being given to you in that moment, in that day. Focus on mastering it, asking any questions you need to, and moving on with the next thing, you know?
That's really good advice. And I think also having fun with it too. Because once you get in speeds, it's not so much it's fun, but it's game time when you get into speeds. It's like, all right, time to put my foot on the gas. You know what I mean? Whereas theory, so you're learning. It's like, you're learning to walk. And so you're having fun. You mess up here and there, but it's not a big deal, but you're still taking it serious. And I would say have fun and don't compare yourself to others. I think that's
Yeah.
where everyone goes wrong in court reporting school,
Mm-hmm.
comparing yourself to others. And
Yeah.
that's going to be your biggest downfall if you start saying, oh my God, they got there so quick or they did
Yeah.
this. Just worry about you.
Yeah, and especially in theory, that's all fine because everyone's on the same page. When you go off to speeds, then it's kind of like, okay, it's every man for themselves. It can feel a little more competitive, but yeah, that's the one thing you have to do, is just focus on your journey. Like be proud and happy for everyone where they're at, where they're going, what they passed, and as long as you do the work and you stay focused, you're going to be that person too that everyone's celebrating and everyone congratulates too. So just focus on your own journey.
So true. And also, don't be afraid to ask questions. I think that's where a lot of students have been telling me, like, oh, I'm just kind of nervous to ask my teacher questions. Nope. Ask all of and anything, any confusion you have, any question, ask the question. You're going to regret not asking it.
Yes, ma'am. I love that.
I love that one too.
What other
Okay.
questions do you have?
We got another one from No Salad for Me. She asked, or they asked, do you invest in backup machines, laptops, and equipment? So I do have a backup machine.
You do? What
Yeah, I
kind?
do. It's a Luminex one.
Oh, you're
And I'm
bougie.
thinking about, because my sister wants to do court reporting school, so I'm thinking about giving that one to her.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
then, yeah, and then buying the new Luminex and then the pink one I have now, I was going to leave it at home for like Zoom depos. That way I don't have to lug it back up and down the stairs. I could just have one for Zoom, have one for in person, and then do that.
Because you currently have a Lumi too, and that's what you write on?
Yeah, that's what I write on, and I
Yeah,
just,
that's
take
me
it in my
too.
bag. Oh, you do too? Okay.
Uh-huh.
You don't have a backup machine?
No.
Okay, so with your Lumi, do you have like support? Whereas if something happens to your machine, the
Yes, I
stenograph will
do.
send. Okay, so then you're fine there.
Yeah.
I always tell people to get that support. I
Yeah,
know
you
it's a
have
pain in the
to.
butt
It
to
it
pay it.
screws, yeah. It
You
screws you
have to
over.
get it. The same with the
Mhm.
software, always get support. But I don't have, no, I do have a laptop. I do have a backup. I do. But I don't know. This is why when it comes to laptops, every 2 years, I'm getting a new one. I'm not, even if it's still good, I'm getting a new one because I don't want to get to a point where it starts turning off randomly,
I
crashes.
know. Ugh.
So if you have, like, so I think I got this one in May of 2024. So next year, I'll be in May 2026, I'll get a new one.
Nice. I probably need to
So,
start thinking about that because I've had this one since maybe 2022.
oh, really? And
But
it's
it's really
still
good,
it's
and it's yeah. I mean, it's a Lenovo or whatever the
oh, those are
ThinkPad.
good.
It's just a really good like for business and for storage, and it's a really good one. But there have been a couple times where it's like won't turn on or something's weird. So I'm kind of like,
There you go. There's your signs. I swear
mm-hmm,
laptops start to give you those signs, and I think that sometimes we sit on it too long and then
mm-hmm.
it crashes and we're crying.
I do want the next gen so badly that
Me too. Okay,
that new
so
machine.
the best advice is to either get it on Black Friday or at a convention
Mm.
because that's where they have like their best sales.
Maybe I'll get it at Steno in the city.
And
No,
literally
not
it was a
with
deal, a two
not
for
with
one.
the tax call I just had yesterday. I ain't buying
I'm
no.
crying for you. Jack, take out your 30%.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's like whatever. I think it's just because it's the first time I actually owe that it's like jarring where I'm like, what did I do? But it's just but it all makes sense. Like obviously it
You
is what
made
it
more.
is.
You made a lot more.
Yeah. But that's exactly what it is.
Okay, next question. Go, Jack.
Let's see. We have from Jessica XOXO. Oh my God, Bentley, my dog is outside on the balcony, just like looking in the sun. So cute. Question: navigating work slash life slash family slash self care balance. Whoa, that's a great question. I feel like you kind of do. I mean, well, the thing is, to be really transparent and honest, this career is hard to plan time for yourself because the second you plan time for yourself, you're going to get that email or that call that someone needs a transcript tomorrow or someone needs this. You know what I mean? It's always those times where you're like, or if you're about to go on a vacation, like, I always have to plan like even when we go to New Orleans for Steno in the City, I will be bringing my laptop because every time you take a trip or you do something a little bit off your normal schedule, someone wants something immediately. And it's so annoying. But once you're prepared for the unpreparedness of this career, like once you're prepared that things can happen, things can go haywire at any moment, and something that you don't expect to happen is going to happen. Once you're prepared for that to happen, I feel like it gets easier. But even sometimes it's like my boyfriend and I will be like, let's watch a movie, or maybe I have to have my laptop and I'm editing, but you can multitask and still spend time with your family while editing or turning in a transcript or something. So, and then just really taking, if you have to take a day, a Sunday, Saturday on the weekend to really do something that makes you happy. But again, there will be times on those weekends too where it's like you're working on an expedite or something. So it's being prepared for the craziness and also putting yourself first and not being afraid to say no. You hate to say no to work, but it does happen a lot where you're like, no, I can't take that because I already know where I'm headed with my workflow and everything that's coming in. It's not smart for me to take on another job or whatever the case may be. So, yeah. How about you, Des? How do you feel about that?
That's a really good answer you had. It's true. I think prioritizing yourself first. So, working out in the morning, going on your morning walk, doing some sort of activity to move your body is the first thing that you should always do because court reporting is very, very damaging on the body. I don't think anyone really talks about
Oh
how
my
damaging
God.
that is. And I think that one day we do need to get into that. Like, I waited so long to take care of myself. I wouldn't get massages, I wouldn't work out. And I just remember feeling like I just have no balance. So I think when you prioritize yourself, your commitments, and taking care of yourself is a commitment. You need to do it. You need to put yourself first. These transcripts can wait. Like somebody just, I think a reporter just told me, they're just words on a page. They can wait. And I think another reporter told me their lack of planning is not on you.
Yeah.
Don't let their lack of planning ruin anything you have. If you can accommodate it and you want to accommodate it, accommodate it. If
Yeah.
it's going to cause you more stress where you're canceling things, you're doing this, you're doing that, then don't do it. Say no. And it's okay to say no to expedites too. I think people think that you're obligated to. I just don't because I love the extra money, especially when I'm on vacation and they want a rough draft. I'm like, oh God, I'm already spending money here. Let me just make some of this money back and send this rough real quick. But I can see why reporters are like, no, that's my time to myself. And that's
Mhm.
great too. So I think just I would tell new reporters to put yourself first. If an agency is bothering you to work and you're like, no, I cannot, I have commitments tomorrow or I have more transcripts to say no. Uh, Just say no. And
Yeah.
that's a no is a perfectly acceptable response. Or if an attorney wants a transcript and you're like, no, I have a massage or I have plans. No, don't do it. Say no.
Yeah. I think
So
that's
I think
really, yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
No, you're fine. I think that's the best thing I could tell anyone is because my schedule right now, there's times where I'm like, I don't even know how I do it, right? But I also tell myself, don't stress. What is stressing out and getting, yourself so hyped up and mad and this and that? What is that going to cause? Nothing. You still have to get the work done. You still have to do this. So I think calming yourself down, really speaking, like being in tune with your feelings helps a lot too, to balance all that out.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love that you said that too, because when I first started working, I of course was like, "Yep, when do you need to buy? Like, do you need it ASAP? I can do it ASAP." For expedites, and it is exciting, and the money is amazing. But to not be afraid to just say, and you know your schedule, you know what you have building up. Be realistic. It's okay if they're like, "Hey, can we get this expedited?" It's okay to say, yeah, is 5 days okay? Is 6 days okay? It doesn't have to be the next day all the time or the same day or 2 days. They can work with you. And a lot of times I've never had someone say, no, that won't work. Like every time I offer, a date, they're always like, yep, perfect. Sounds good. Great. So,
Yes. Yes, that's a good one, offering the date too. And also, because I'm a mom, if I have like something planned with my kids, I make sure I wake up earlier to get whatever I need to get done, whether it's waking up at 4 in the morning, going to go have, I wake up at 3:30 to go or 3 o'clock to go work out. I
I was
come
just gonna
home.
say,
Yeah.
Des is so good about waking up early. And actually,
Hard.
Dylan, my boyfriend, just did that this morning. I think he was up at like 4 a.m., but he had so
Yes,
much done.
Dylan.
I woke up at like 8 and he was like, house is clean, laundry's done. I went to the gym, breakfast is made, this, like, and I was like, wow, that's impressive. But it really does make you feel so good because then it's like you have your whole day.
Yes.
So it does suck. I'm not a morning person like that. I'm trying to get better, but to have that time to do whatever you want early in the morning, work out, go for a walk, get yourself mentally ready and prepared for the day, it's really powerful and really
And I
important.
think when you work out in the morning before you do transcripts, your head is already clear. You're
Yeah.
ready to just kind of get into the zone. It's perfect. So that's what I do, balancing all that out. And like I said, if I have plans, I work my transcripts around my plans, and that way my kids aren't missing out. And half the time when they wake up, I'm already done with like that transcript or whatever I needed to do, and that they don't see me always constantly working.
Mhm.
So that's what's
Mhm.
helped me. That was a really good question, actually.
That was good.
Okay, the next question is from Lex Flores 5, and they asked, this is probably a question for Jack because I
Oh
did not
yeah.
go. Yeah, okay. So, how did you like SCC, which I'm assuming is South Coast College?
Mhm.
What were some things they didn't teach you that you wish they did? So, Jack, take the floor. Floor is
Okay.
yours.
I really loved South Coast College. It was really, when I was looking for schools, it really said a lot to me that they had the highest pass rate for the CSR in the state. The most amount of people would pass from their school. And that was just really important to me because I'm like, clearly what they're doing is working, for people. And there are numerous schools, there's numerous theories that, of course, work. But I think for me, it just was the best fit. It was best to jump right in. I got super lucky. The next quarter was starting within like a week of me even showing interest. So I literally just dove right in, signed
Oh
up,
my
and
God.
got right to it. And I loved the faculty there and the teachers, and the president of the school and I are super close and we text, and I I really loved it. Like I had so much fun. They would do little events where, we'd dress up for Halloween and just different little things. And granted, this is back when it was in person, so it was easier to have more of a fellowship and community with people. But I loved it. I went into that CSR so overly prepared, even down to like the teachers all come with you to the CSR and they warm you up. And they read super, super fast and they don't read how fast the CSR is at all. Like they make you feel like you are not going to pass this, but it's like all this mind thing to help you. Cause when you get in there, like taking the CSR, I was like, are you kidding me? Why is this so easy? Because it was just so smooth and I was so overly prepared. I was ready to like be moving my fingers and being like out of breath. And I was ready to go. I expected one thing and I got in there and I was like, whoa, I am overly prepared for this, which is how I love being overly prepared for situations. Like come at me, like, I can handle it all. So I feel like they did amazing job at preparing us for the state exam. There were some things that, you don't learn, which is like, there was a formatting class, how to format a transcript and stuff, but it wasn't really helpful because it was in Microsoft Word and it was just to like do your test. It was formatting tests. It wasn't formatting an actual like transcript. And so I wish they did offer a person. He's actually, we talked about him before, Cody. He came in and did like a optional class for Case Catalyst and the software that I'm now on, which was super, super, super helpful. But I'm like, this needs to be required. Like, this needs to be like put into the curriculum for everyone. So I wish there was more of that. I wish there was more on software and learning that. I mean, I guess it's easier for people now because people on day one have their software pulled up, and we all know that was not me. So I would have loved more on that, and I would have loved more on just how to make that transcript and what the cover pages look like and the index looks like and that type of stuff. It was definitely focused more on let's learn this machine and get your speed up and pass your test. And they're amazing for that. But yeah, there are definitely things that I would have loved to have been a little more prepared for.
That is so true. I think that's great that you had those feelings because the one thing that people complain about or, say is, South Coast is so expensive, but it sounds like it was worth it for you.
It was beyond worth it for sure.
And I agree totally with the transcript. I think that the board needs to mandate before you get out of school, you need to do like 3 months of transcript preparation because it's true. You don't even know. I think when I got out, I was like, covers? What?
Mhm.
And it was like, what do you put on the covers? And then they would send you samples and you were like, what? And it's so tedious. There's so many, you can make so many little mistakes on your covers. So I definitely agree with that too. The covers for sure. How to prepare a transcript, what blurbs to put in. Here are some blurbs, here are some this, here's that, because your certs are different if it's a federal case. And see, I didn't know. I mean,
Yeah.
all that, but seeing it is completely different. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And like when there's an
So
interpreter, you have to have an interpreter cert page.
yeah, our
I
blurb
talked
for
to
her.
Yeah, I talked to
Yeah.
someone that was like, I've never had an interpreter cert page. And I was like, well, I turned a job in and they were like, you need an interpreter cert page. And, thank God I had that and made it and put it in. But there's just stuff like that where it's like, how would I have ever known that?
Right, right. So I think that there needs to be at least a transcript prep class for sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Okay, moving on. We have a question from AISFORAN.
A is for Anne.
Tell me why I was reading that as AI. I was like, AI foreign. I'm like, what the hell? I can't. Sometimes I'm like, how am I a court reporter? Like literally I can't read.
Same.
I think I look at everything like phonetically and I can't nothing makes sense anymore. How long does it take to edit your transcripts?
It really depends because every transcript's different. No two transcripts are the same. Sometimes I boom through it. I'm like, oh, 60 pages an hour? Boom, that's a page a minute. And there's times where it's like 30 pages an hour. So what I do is I when I'm scoping a transcript, put okay, so if I'm starting at 2:30, okay, 2:30, I'm on page this. 3:30, I'm on page this. And I could see kind of what I'm like tracking on that hour or how this transcript's going. And I do that because if the transcript took me a long time to do, I'm like, okay, what was wrong with that job that caused me to take so long editing a transcript, right? So I'm like, okay, that job, I was messing up here, I was messing up there. So that's why it's so hard when people are like, oh, how long does it take you? I'm like, well, I don't know. If the job was bad, longer. If it was great, good. When I do real time, my transcripts are a lot cleaner when I come home because I'm forced to be so perfect on the job. So my real time transcripts are easier for me to edit. Yesterday, oh my gosh, it wasn't real time, but I get lazy. You get lazy when you're not doing real time because you're like, I'm not fixing that. I'm not fixing untranslates. I'm not fixing that, or
Right.
well, just leave it alone. Whereas if you mess up in real time, you're forced to fix it. So I don't know. I range anywhere from 30 to 50 pages an hour. I'm almost at like 60 pages an hour, but that's like on a really good day. What about you?
I know it's so different, honestly.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
like no
like
one answer.
yeah, and court takes longer sometimes to transcribe because it's very wall to wall, as we like
It's
to say.
colicky, right?
It's all colloquy for the most part.
I say colicky. I don't know why I like saying colicky, by the way. I know it's colloquy. Before anyone tries to
Colloquy.
correct me, I know it is, but I
Colloquy.
love saying colicky. I just say it like that.
That's like an actual
But
word, isn't it?
I
Like when a
know.
baby is colicky.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. But I like, when babies are colicky, they're annoying. So when we have to do colicky, it's annoying.
That's true. I like that.
Sorry, Jack, go ahead.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, I don't scope my own work anymore. I did for the longest time. I only did my own work. I try to scopus here and there, and I was never really, I didn't have the greatest experiences. I had one that was actually certifiably crazy.
I remember her.
And she would leave me voicemails and be like, well, she would expect me to send her like work. And I'm like, if I have a 20-page transcript, I'm just gonna like do it myself. I'm not. But she literally was like, I'm not gonna be able to pay my bills this month. Like, I haven't gotten a job from you. Do you have any jobs coming down the line? And I'm like, okay, you can't like rely on me to make all your income. Like, come on, you have to. No, she was crazy. I still have voicemails from her on my phone. And then she would be so mad. Like, say I'd like left out an address or I had the phonetic name of like an address, a street address. She would write in a note in my software and go, how do you expect me to figure this out? I don't know what you want me to do about this. And mind you, I had like the city, the state, the zip code. It's a very quick Google search or put on your Apple Map and you're going to find the spelling right away. And that's what scope is like.
Stop.
I'm sorry, like I will go through and try to fix those as much as I can. But if I miss one here or there, my gosh, like, is that really a big deal? I don't know
That's her
how you
job
expect me to figure
anyways.
this out. Yeah. And then she started changing. I would have it. I would look at my notes. I would have everything perfectly in my steno. And she would change an entire sentence. Like she would hear the audio wrong or something. I'm like, what is happening? This is crazy. So then I was like, I can't have a Scopus anymore. But now I have a really, really good one. And she's actually a reporter. I don't know what state she lives in, but she's a court reporter and she has a lot of free time. So I send her all my stuff and she's amazing and she gets the formatting, the court terminology. And so, anyway, back to the question, I don't scope my own work anymore. So I send it off and, she sends it back in a few days and that's that. But in the beginning, it took a while. I think I'm probably at that same pace you are, Des, like 50 pages in an hour. Sounds
Oh,
about
that's
right.
amazing. That took me forever to get there. So the fact that you're already there, that's amazing, honestly.
Thank
And
you.
I love the Scopus with the report. That's one of my requirements. It's not like a set. It's not set in stone, but one of my requirements. I love when my Scopus is a reporter because they get it. If they know
Yep.
you've had a bad writing day, they're like, oh, testimony was hard or attorney was this, or they understand. You know what I mean? So I love that. Okay, that's a good one. Okay,
Yeah.
next question.
Let's see.
It is from, I can't read the username, but the question is, what is your favorite thing about Jack? That's a cute question.
No one said that. You're lying. You added that in. You are a silly one. Silly, silly girl, you are.
I was gonna say that afterwards. Okay, fine. Okay, the next question. It's from Megan Lambert. Advice for students beginning an internship. Yes, please be professional. Please don't talk too much to, I guess, know your place, right? I hate to say that, but there have been times where students stood out with me and I think it's just excitement. It's just excitement. They're just like, "Oh my God, I love this setting." So they start saying too much to like attorneys and then attorneys are like, "Oh, you know what I mean?" I would just say if you're spoken to, ask questions of the reporter. Have a list of questions that you want to ask. If you see something, oh my God, ask. Don't be afraid to ask unless the reporter's kind of, not really into it. But I would say ask, dress professionally, shake everyone's hands and say introduce yourself. Um, yeah, you're almost there.
Yeah, I would say that same thing. Go in like a sponge and just be there to absorb everything, take it all in, make notes of questions, but then maybe wait till the end of the day to like go through and be like, okay, what was this? What was that? What do I do there? And yeah, you just want to like be a little fly on the wall and just soak everything up and just learn because that's the best way, honestly, to just pay attention and notice things and just, as things come up, jot it down, ask it later and yeah, but that's really exciting.
Yeah, that's really honestly the best advice I can give. If you're in court, really, be careful.
Totally.
Yeah.
We have another question here. Looks for like from YouTube, maybe from Kaylee Brown 9502. Thanks for the question, Kaylee. Her question is, I'd love to know how much you recommend saving for the initial startup costs.
Ooh.
I have to be really honest and candid here. Like, I didn't have money when I started court reporting school. Like,
No, I didn't eat.
I don't, I like, would it be great to have something saved up if you can do that? And that's 1000%. But I started school and didn't pay a single thing out of my pocket. Like, it was kind of like act now, pay later, Like, right? I don't know, like
Yeah, no,
I
that's
unless you
true.
have like money to go in, but it's like I rented a machine from my school and it just like went right into my schooling thing, bill, whatever, financial aid, everything.
I would say, I mean, okay, so like the software, the machine, I financed all of that. So, because you can finance it. So, um, I know there's going to be students that are like, well, I can't finance that. I would start saving now. The initial startup, if you want to buy everything cash, so say you're like, I don't want to finance nothing. I want to do that. I want to save now. Um,
I'm scared.
the startup for reporting is close to $10,000, if not 12, probably,
Hmm.
because you have the software. The professional software, when I bought it, was 3,300. Now I'm sure it's like 45. Okay.
Yeah.
The machine, 5,500. So right there, you're at 10 grand almost. You need a laptop. Okay. Yeah, you need a laptop. Okay, that's right there. What? This is 1,500. Then you need a microphone, and then you need a bag. So I would say right there, you're like at 13 grand almost.
Do you need a microphone right away? No.
Well, you need something to record, like a microphone, like
Oh, like
to
record.
record. Yeah, yeah. So that's not too bad. I think the one I bought was like 300,
But they don't
which
let you
I'm
use
looking into
it.
a
Did
new
they
one.
let you use your microphone in school, like during
No,
tests?
she's
No way.
saying wait, the question was like, if you're starting, like if say you've passed all your tests.
I thought this is starting up school. Oh my gosh.
Wait, is that the question?
Wait, I don't know. What's the question?
Okay, because you know what? It was vague. It's vague and ambiguous. Is it?
Oh, initial
Kaylee, we're
startup
just
cost.
kidding. We're just kidding with you, Kaylee. I promise. Okay, that is true. Okay, so we're talking when you're licensed and you're ready to get out. That's what
Oh,
I'm saying.
okay. I was saying student
Oh, so see, I don't even know. Okay, that sounds are both.
because I was like, I was starting and I was like, I have no money. Like, here we go. Like, just dive in and sign up and think later. That's so my perspective was from
Okay,
your
okay.
beginning school. Yeah. But
Okay,
if you
so
want to do
Jack's
after,
answer was basically for students, and mine was professional. I think that was actually not bad, even
yeah.
though it was different interpretations of the
But I
question.
was like, a microphone in school? You got to listen to audio while you're
No,
transcribing your tests? I'm like,
no
what the
wonder
hell?
your face when I said the
Like, what?
software and the machine, you were like, huh?
Like, wait, what? And then I also was like, you can get student writers or you can get a cheap $100, $200
Oh
old
my
steno machine
God.
on OfferUp or eBay or something.
Oh my
Like, what the hell?
gosh. Okay, no,
Yeah,
no, no. Okay, so
that's
my
funny.
answer was just in response if you're already certified and you're going to start working in the field, or you're like just wanting to know what are the costs going to be when you start reporting. Those were my costs. I did finance my machine in school when I was in 180. I think it was like $150 payment. I think the payments are like 130 now if you want to like finance it. Um, which I would recommend getting your machine like the end of your speed, like the speeds, like 180, your professional. That way, that's one less expense. You're already paying it. You'll be fine, but you know what I mean? And then you have your software, which you can finance that too. And then like everything else you can just kind of get. And like I said, you guys, the first month or maybe through 6 months, all that will be paid off.
Yeah.
So it's an
Seriously.
investment. It's an investment.
Yeah. I remember I think I was in 120 or 130 when I finally got a new machine and it was just like the stenograph student writer. It changed my life. I was so excited to get it because I just had one of those old ones that I was renting from the school with the paper we've talked about. But you can't change the like depth of the stroke on the keys. So I was just like boom, 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 plunking away. Oh my God.
Hurting your wrist the whole time while you're doing it.
It was crazy. So
Painful.
if you can afford that student writer, I think that's a great. And then I think they apply the purchase price of the student writer when you turn it in. I think they applied that money to the professional writer.
Oh, that's right. And you can even
Yeah,
trade in your student one too. Yeah.
yeah, it was a really good like deal or
Yeah.
whatever. So
And
check
the
into
same with
that.
the student software, right? If you have the student one, whatever you paid, I think goes towards the professional one too. I think.
Yeah,
Please don't quote me on
I
that because
think
it
maybe
was a
yeah,
long time ago when I did it. But yes, it is expensive to become a court reporter. I am not even gonna lie. So, and I don't know, and I'm sorry guys. Maybe we should have asked a voice reporter. I don't know what the costs are for.
yeah. I
I'm
don't know.
assuming their masks are probably not anywhere near as expensive as ours.
Yeah, I wonder.
But
But
they
it is
also
like a
do need
niche
a
thing.
yeah, yeah, and I know they do need like their laptops have to have, they have to be a lot stronger than ours. Because sometimes a voice reporter will ask me, or like a voice student will ask me, like, "Oh, do you recommend your laptop for voice?" And I'm like, "No, I don't. You need something with a lot more RAM. Like, you need really like a heavy duty laptop, and this is not that." So
Interesting.
we should have asked. Maybe next time we can.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is from Kaylee Brown again, and this is actually a good question. How do you handle rude attorneys? Curious because I feel like my face says everything. You guys, one thing I always get on my TikTok, and Jack, I'm sure you do too. How do you control your face? We spoke about it last week. How do you control your emotions? You guys, we have to get our emotions in check. You cannot have emotions during proceedings. Okay, so Jack, how do you handle rude attorneys?
Luckily, I haven't had too many be rude to me, but I did once. It was over Zoom, and this attorney was getting so upset about the whole. Remember when like the code versus stipulation thing was such a huge thing? That is
We
a
need
whole
to,
episode.
yes,
That is a
because
whole episode.
I
That
kid
is
you
crazy.
not, we went to war to fight this. I feel
No,
like
thank
we
you.
went to war.
You definitely did it for me because when
You
I got
did, you
out,
did it?
well, it was still, it was over the hump when I started working, but you guys did the dirty work and I appreciate that so much. But when I got into the
Spoke us
field, it
off.
was like every once in a while I had to deal with it. And this was one of those instances I had to deal with it. And this attorney was so pissed and was yelling he was like, well, let me state on the record that this court reporter is refusing to stipulate the original. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, yes, I want to keep my court reporting license. Like, this actually isn't like ethically correct. But thankfully, this is one of my favorite attorneys ever. I miss her so much. She stood up and she was just like, there's nothing we can do. Yes, the costs of this are going up, not the cost of like the cost of like the legal fees, like all, yes, the fees, everything's going up, nothing I can do. So if you want a transcript, you can put your order on the record. If not, you're not getting one. And it was, they like, he signed off, he was all pissed, but he was like yelling at me through the screen. But I just sat there, I'm like, have your little tantrum. And I always just keep it professional, straight to the point, explain myself when I need to. But you guys do not deserve any emotion from me ever. You're getting straight to the point. I'm never letting myself get emotional with people who are unstable.
I love that. And I think no reaction is the best reaction. I think if I could tell any of you guys anything, attorneys are trained to fight. That's what they're trained, especially in civil litigation, right? They're representing clients. So they're going to fight with you if there's an issue or anything. They're not going to hold back at all. My biggest thing was killing them with kindness. I can be not rude. I remember, I don't know if you saw my story one time when an attorney yelled at me for accidentally putting him on mute on Zoom. We were all in person and he was appearing via Zoom and
Mm-hmm.
he yelled at me and he's like, I tried to make a statement on the record and the court reporter put me on mute and blah, blah, blah. Like he was mad. He was making a huge statement on the record about me. And I was like, no, you are not. I kindly but very firm. I was really, really stern. I said, Counsel, I put you on, yes, you're right. I did put you on mute because you were eating on the record. You were opening your bag of chips on the record. You were opening sodas on the record. And it was extremely distracting to not only myself, who was taking down the record, but for the witness, for counsel who was questioning. And I said, and my sincere apologies, but yes, I had to put you on mute. And I was very nice when I said it. I wasn't rude. And I think that's where we go wrong. We start fighting with attorneys. We start getting really rude. And what does that solve? Nothing. Killing them with kindness is the best thing you can do. Or like Jack said, no response is the best response. Because then you're like, okay, counsel, I'm sorry you feel that way. And that's it. Because
Yeah.
like I said, they're trained to fight and they will. And the thing is, they have to get the last word. They're not going to stop until they get the last word. And there have been some that are so condescending, like what Jack said with the stipulation thing. The minute it would get to the end of a depo, I was like, oh my God, my anxiety is through the roof because I'm going to have to tell them no. And there was one that was like, Madam Court Reporter, that is not your job. And no, 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 no. I was like, oh my God.
At
I
least they're
remember I
laughing.
wanted to cry. I was like, oh my God, this was like, and I had no backbone. Now I'm like, you are not going to talk to me like that, but
I know. It's
in a
like,
nice, mean way. But you're going to get attorneys that are mean, unfortunately. A lot of them are nice, but you're going to get some that are not. And you have to, if I could tell my younger reporter self something, it would be get a backbone. Please get a backbone. Stop crying. Does nothing.
exactly. We actually have on our next episode, we have an attorney coming on the podcast. So we'll get their
Yes.
perspective and all the stories and all the things. So that will be really exciting.
That'll
So
be
stay tuned coming up
exciting.
for that.
Do we have one more question? We have one more if you want to answer it really
Oh,
quickly.
is it the fatigue one?
Fatigue one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is from Lex Flores 5. How do you handle fatigue or burnout when practicing for long periods? Honestly, I ask my boyfriend to give me a hand massage.
I love that.
And if I go get like a manicure, I'll be like, can I pay extra for you to massage my forearms and my hands?
Yes, yes.
But they also make, I have like a hand massager too. They make stuff. I think I find that nothing's better than someone like literally digging into my forearms and massaging it. But yeah, get someone, if you can get someone to massage you or massage yourself, and also just removing yourself from the practice routine or from whatever you're doing, sit down and watch a movie, get your mind somewhere else where you can just go into that relaxation mode. Des and I always say like we watch Housewives or true crime stuff, even something that's going to make you, not use a lot of brain power, and you can just sit and detach yourself a little bit.
Yeah, you have to. I always tell attorneys, reporter fatigue is real. When they're like, "Oh, can we go past 5:30?" I'm like, "Yeah, reporter fatigue is real. My hands are tired." So, like Jack said, you have to rest your hands, especially your forearms. Asking for a massage, going to go get one, or also staying hydrated. I don't think we've touched on that. You have to stay hydrated.
Yep.
Taking your vitamins. But yeah, knowing when to walk away. Because what good is it going to do if you're all burnt out, but you're like, I have to get this last hour in? It's not going to do anything. So walking away. Also do, like I always tell you guys, increments, 20-minute increments, 20 or 30-minute increment working of practicing. That way you're not like 4 hours and you're just done and your brain's fried, but you give your brain a rest, because your jobs it's all in the brain. And I always tell Troy, my husband, this. I say it's so much easier being physically tired than it is mentally. Physically, you could just relax and like just go take a bath, do what you have to do. But if you're mentally tired, getting your brain to calm down is so hard.
It's so hard.
So even listening to like meditation music, I do that a lot actually. I'll meditate, or I'm like, oh my God, do we just put some music on and just close my eyes? It's the best thing. Hi, Bentley, baby. Sorry, I love him so much.
The wiener dog has entered the pod.
I love him so much.
So normally we do a case of the week, but I think we're going to have to actually transfer that over into next week, because the case I want to talk about is going to take a little bit of diving into, and we're pretty much out of time for this one. But I really want to talk the Brian Kobriger, the students that were murdered in Colorado, I think.
My gosh.
That's we got to talk about that, because there's some new stuff, and I'm so excited for this trial, and I really hope they film it, or I just hope that I get asked to do the trial as the court reporter. Like I'm manifesting that. That's what I want.
That we're going to talk about. I want to talk about that one, and I want to get into the guy Luigi, the one that killed the CEO.
Yeah. We got some stuff coming. Okay, but I do have a brief of the week, and I actually have the brief of the week, and I have the answer for what I do for it. So I know normally I'm always like, oh, I don't have this, like, and it's, but I actually have a brief.
Sorry,
and I think
Jack, I don't mean to laugh.
It's really good, because I was struggling so hard when they'd be like, plaintiff's counsel, please say your appearance. Or here we go. It's back with the appearance thing, but it'll be like, or they'll say like, who do we have for plaintiff's counsel? Who do we have for defendant's counsel? So it happens so quickly. And I was typing pliff counsel, like it's just too much, and it's so fast. So now I do Pownell, Pounl is plaintiff's counsel. Downell, Dounl is defendant's counsel. And then what was I doing I think for sometimes they'll say petitioner, respondent. So petitioner's counsel, I was doing I think I was doing PIRNL, like Pernal. Because like RB is ish. Is RB ish for you too? Like pish?
RB ish? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
Or sha, like a sha sound.
Yeah.
RB, yeah. And then respondent's counsel, I think I was doing SPIRNL as well. I can't remember exactly. I have them all like saved, but those have saved my life, because they say those so fast, and you can't have, 4 strokes for that kind of stuff. So what about you? Were you briefing anything this week that was like, oh, that was good?
This week? That's a good question. No.
You're like, all my briefs are good, baby.
I'm like, yeah, no. Because I only worked 2 days. So it wasn't. No, I don't think so. Oh, yes. This word kept coming up. I had an aircraft arbitration, or arbitration was like aircraft. Oh my God, it was so stupid. But aircraft, yeah, that one came up a lot. I just did AEUT. Flagged.
Oh, wow. Flagged. I like when
you say that. Flagged. Everyone's like the asterisk. I'm like, I just say flagged. I don't know. You guys, I'd be coming up with my own stuff over here. I like Jack said, I don't know how I'm a court reporter sometimes.
I love that.
So I do love that.
Well, you guys, Des and I are both going to Steno in the City, the Fearless Stenographers Conference in New Orleans. I believe it's from April 10th to the 13th. It's coming up. It's only in like 20 days, so it's not too late to sign up. You can go to stenointhecity.com. And if you live close, obviously that's easier. I know it's not totally feasible for everyone to be able to fly there. But if you're able to make it, we'd love to see you and hang out. There's going to be so many amazing speakers and different events to just socialize. Like part of court reporting truly is the socializing because we never ever get to do it. So when there's an event like this, I think it's really important to just be out there with other court reporters and socializing and learning. And I always take away something, like always learn something or try something new, try a new different type of job, or someone convinces me to do something. So it's going to be amazing. So we hope we see you there.
Yes, and Jack and I were also talking about doing like a little meetup. We can go like to the bar and be like, "Hey, are you guys here? Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna be here." You know, Jack and I are starting a world tour. Just kidding.
Yeah, or Beyonce.
New
No.
Orleans is our first stop, and then Ventura for the DRA convention. Like, we're just gonna
That's
do
right.
a little
We're
tour.
speaking there. The Steno Pod live comes to DRA.
Yes, so Jack and I have some exciting things. But yes, we definitely want to have like a little meetup, like at the
Yeah.
bar or something. We can
We'll put that
all
on the
hang out.
Steno Pod like Instagram or something, meet up here at this time, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out. That'll
And
be
we'll
great.
have fun. I know I'm really excited. Like Jack said, that you can never have you're always learning. I'm excited to go to like Anna's class about financing and all that stuff, like just to learn. And even 10 years in, I'm still learning every day. So this will be great. And she puts on the best. The best.
She's the best. She's the best of the best. I love it. Thank you all so much for listening to our podcast. We are halfway through season 1. Thank you for all your input and for listening, watching, and interacting. We both appreciate it so much. And we will see you next week.
Yes, everyone have a good day.
Bye-bye.